The Networking Magazine, proud to be different. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me. My name's Sanj, and I'm the owner of the Networking Magazine. My next guest today is Michael D. Douglas, actor, dancer, singer, and host. Hi, Michael. How are you? And thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that intro.
So it took me ages to make that up. Well, really, this podcast is an opportunity to find out more about what you're doing at the moment and the projects that you have ongoing in the future, which I believe, I think you said or mentioned that you have 3. But let's go straight to the bit that I really am very interested in is the workshop that you did and you completed very recently. Where was it? What was it all about?
Yeah, no, it was a great thing that happened. It was to kind of like give you a background. It was with a company called Turn Up. It's a media company. They're a platform that is looking for talent in the UK. It also interviews celebrities and talent that happens in the UK. So they are at Wireless a lot. And they'll be doing a lot of interviews there at a lot of TV events and things, and they would do a lot of interviews. So they decided in the Jubilee, that Jubilee holiday that was happening, that they wanted to do a workshop, kind of like day in Shoreditch.
Yeah.
It was aimed at children who were teens, so it's about 14 to about 19.
Right.
And they were doing music, they were doing food, they were doing poetry, dance, loads of different activities. And I was in charge of doing the workshop.
Amazing. And how many days did you do that for?
2 days, yeah. It was a 2 days workshop. So we, the first day we worked on technique, and then in the second day we worked on a performance.
Right.
And
do you think you're going to do more in the future? More workshops?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it was real fun. I think the best thing about it was growing up, I was very much a large part of my youth and my youth community at my church. And in that, there was a youth club that ran every Friday called Blueprint. And within that, we did a lot of workshops. So I think I kind of grew up I'm 1990. So I kind of grew up in a generation where there was a lot of kind of like Saturday schools and youth clubs. Yeah. And I think that really did help, because I think that it really brought what I saw in amongst the youth is, it doesn't matter if you were black, white, wherever you were class-wise, there were things that people all joined together to do. So whether that was playing video games or whether that's football, whether that's go-karting, whatever it is, I guess people at that age, children at that age, were able to, on their own, they saw the differences between each other, but with a activity, they were able to see the actual things that they had in common.
Right. And I think that's really important, because it somehow played an influence in your decision making as to becoming an actor.
Yes.
And hopefully the work you did at the workshops are going to, in some way, is going to inspire new talent.
I hope so. I really do hope so. There was a lot of people there children there that was already in the arts, and then there was a lot that wasn't. So it was a good kind of all-arounder to kind of have fun. We just had a pandemic, just get everyone to let loose and start playing again, and that was really exciting for me.
Well, let's move on a little bit to, and I definitely can't skip over, because the last time that we met, we did the editorial called This Star Shines Bright, which is in edition 4 of the Networking Magazine. It was kind of a track of your life story, where your story began, and sort of the influences you had. We left it at the part which I was really interested in, was Stargazer. Yes. So tell me what went on. I mean, when I left, what went on with Stargazer?
Well, Stargazer blew up. So just to give a general idea of Stargazer is a film which follows a character called Eden, which is played by myself. Eden grew up with his brother. His brother went off to space. It's a sci-fi movie. His brother went off to space. His brother didn't return and didn't contact him. Their parents died. Eden kind of swore off his brother. And the next time that he hears from his brother is about 17 years into the future.
Right.
Where a spaceship lands on his lawn and a woman walks out with a 15-year-old boy. And they are proclaiming that not only is his brother dead, but this is his family. And he, in his will, has asked his family to spread the ashes across a planet.
Amazing. I followed Space 1999, Blade 7, and all the old stuff. So,
Oh, wonderful.
I've got a particular passion for these type of movies. How can somebody watch this movie? Where can they get hold of it?
So Stargazer right now is just finishing its festival run. So far, it's been in 20 it's featured in 20 festivals, film
Mhm.
festivals, and it has won, I believe, 11 awards.
Right.
So it's
Wow.
doing
Wow.
really well. Once it comes to the end, they're going to try and put it on a streaming platform.
Right.
Um,
Right. Okay. And
YouTube will be last resort, but they'll try and get it on either like Netflix, Amazon, or Vivo. But I think
right.
that eventually it will probably happen on YouTube. But when that does happen, I will flag it up to
Yeah,
air.
please, please. So, okay, brilliant. Okay, and do you think there's a future for Stargazer? Do you think that once that it's made that circuit, you think there's a future for it? Will you be doing a follow up?
Well, it was definitely made as an experiment in terms of um, the storyline. Did anyone like it? Did everyone love the characters? So that's why it was a short film. But it always was planned to either turn into a series or a feature film. So that's going to be really exciting to kind of push that forward because I definitely feel like it's going that way.
Right, right. Okay. Well, you've got three projects in the motion, but before we discuss those, tell me what you're doing today, right now.
Yes, so I am currently at Secret Cinema. Secret Cinema is an immersive theatre company that I have been with for 4 years.
Mhm.
What we do is we take a film or a series as a concept and we basically explode the world for people to experience more than just watch. So the first one I ever did was Casino Royale, and
Wow.
the audience was invited to help the MI6 track down their bad guys. And
Love it.
during that
Love
time,
it.
yeah, during that time, James Bond was tracking down the bad guy from Casino Royale. So we had
Right.
that. Then the second one I was on was Stranger Things.
Wow.
You were all invited back to Hawkins because they were um, school. It was like a school reunion, and
Right.
within that school reunion, you learned that there were children in your class that were taken away to a thing called Hawkins Laboratory,
Right.
and within that, there was experiments. So while you're walking around Hawkins, you will see a little girl with hardly any hair and a group of four boys running around.
Right.
And you were able to either jump onto that storyline and find out what they're doing, or jump onto Hopper's storyline, or jump onto anyone else's storyline. So I loved it from the beginning. I kind of got addicted. And this is my fourth one, which
Wow.
is they're currently doing Dirty Dancing. So everyone is invited to Kellerman's camp, and at Kellerman's camp, you may experience a certain Johnny going after a certain baby. So it's really fun. And the next one after that is Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm gearing up
Wow.
for that as well.
Big fan. Big fan. You never
Yeah,
know. I might just turn up. So,
you got to, you got to.
so tell me about these three projects. Are you allowed to talk about them? Is it a real secret? I mean, without giving any spoilers away.
So I
What are
can,
these?
as much as I want to work for Marvel one day, I thank God it's not Marvel yet, so I can talk about them. That's absolutely fine.
Brilliant.
So, yes, probably project number one, which is probably the most recent one out of the short films,
Right.
is called the Flying Caterpillar.
Mhm.
Now, when I first heard it, I was like, "Isn't that a butterfly?" But the way the director basically said to me was, "There are things called flying caterpillars, and they are caterpillars that try to jump a
Right.
bit too early. They try to jump before going through their evolution and turning into a butterfly. So they
Right.
try to fly." And they usually always fail. And it's a comment on my character because my character is a father with a mental illness, and he's really, really trying to do his best for his son, but he's not quite aware of. He hasn't quite addressed his mental illness, and
Right.
because he hasn't quite addressed his mental illness, just like the flying caterpillar, he's trying to, I guess, fly without completely completing his evolution.
Right.
So that's what that film was about. It was really an interesting concept when I first heard it because I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't even know how you can get into character with something like that. But, yeah.
it was. Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie. The pandemic kind of puts you in a very kind of
Yeah.
place, and you kind of see things inside of yourself that come out, which was quite crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that. Then the other film that's doing its short film rounds is called Out of Orbit.
Okay.
It
Is that
is
another sci-fi?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it's about a little girl who her daughter, her mum has passed away, and because her mum's passed away, her father, who's played by me, is going through a deep depression.
Right.
And while that's happening, she's kind of communicating with her mum from beyond the grave, but it's in a way to kind of push her towards her love for space and spaceships.
Okay.
And something very beautiful happens between the two characters. For people who are kind of getting over grief and getting over mourning over someone's death. It was quite a
Thanks.
beautiful one, and it's a short one, and I really enjoyed being part of that project.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was really good.
It's relevant. It's relevant though, isn't it? You know, getting over grief and that sort of thing. It's very relevant to today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the third project?
And the third one is called The Two Best Men. It was a short film that was about two gangsters, myself and my fellow actor David.
Right.
We were two hitmen who were on our last hit, but the only one out of the two of us who knew it was our last hit was me.
Right.
And that's as much as I can say about it.
Okay. You do work for Marvel. Well, listen, Michael. Listen, I know that you've got a busy day ahead of you because you're performing at the moment, aren't you? So I know that you've got a busy schedule ahead of you. I just wanted to have that opportunity to catch up, and I'm hoping that maybe in a few months we can do another catch up just to see how what sort of exciting things you've got in the pipeline.
I'd love that.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.